Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Peter Jennings, and I go by CSURAM88 across the daily fantasy industry. And back again here at FantasyLabs doing another lineup review. I have some exciting golf tournaments to go into, but real quick, I talked about it on the model preview that I was going up for a bachelor party in the mountains, and I had a great time, played a lot of golf, and really enjoyed not watching this tournament. So one thing about this lineup review is I did not watch. I actually love watching golf, but I was really enjoying myself at the bachelor party for the guy who's the best man at my wedding, and I'm going to be the best man at his. So great times, and fortunately things worked out in golf. I wish I would have gotten to see Rory win live, but watched a lot of the highlights and watched some of the highlights of Casey as well. So first thing we're taking a look at here is the Fantasy Golf World Championship, $1 million prize pool, $200,000 to first, and this was the second round of the tournament. It's a really cool tournament by DraftKings where basically it's a survivor. Start with 125 down to 100 down to 70. Week 3 is going to be this next week where it goes from 70 to 30, and then the final 30 plays out like a GPP, just like the FedEx. So in this tournament, it was just get first through 70th, and you advance to round 3, 71st through 100th, you get $2,500. So in this spot, I basically played my cash game teams and the guys I thought were the best plays. I did mix it up a little bit just to make sure I could get a team through. I did have a core, but I did mix up a couple players because I thought there were a lot of valid plays. And the one somewhat frustrating thing is I actually took first in this tournament, but first is the same as 70th, so no benefit there. And I took first there with a miscut, so pretty proud of that. This was actually my main team here. The team that took first was my main cash game team, so if you played me in head-to-head, you probably saw this lineup. Paul Casey, talked about it in the model preview, loved him. Really stood out. He had a really high short-term green regulation percentage, which I thought was great. Big stat I'm looking at, and he stuck out as the number one play actually in all of my models, so I had him quite a bit. Charlie Hoffman, who missed the cut, played terribly. McIlroy, obviously, who won. Getting that huge of a discount on Rory was just a must-play in my opinion with the course and his history. Even though the putter hadn't been going, there's still much short-term variance in the putter that I was willing to take a chance on him, and he played lights out. Adam Scott, again, I think his form and ball striking's top of the world right now, and I think that was reflected. Hudson Swafford, who was my favorite cheap value play, I played him all over, and then Gary Woodland, who I thought was just too cheap, and he was actually looking great multiple times in this tournament, but Saturday really killed him. So that was my first team. As you can see here, I did squeak my 3 teams in, which I'm very happy about. If we go here to the 41st team, sorry about that. Again, Paul Casey, he was a core item on 2 of the teams. Tony Finau, who was a really contrarian play, I guess. This whole team was kind of contrarian. Finau, I thought, was a great play with his distance, with the cut only being 70 out of 100 guys. I thought that there's this is a good spot to take Finau, just because there's a lot of upside with him, and the downside is he's not as great of a cut maker as other guys, but that's mitigated by the structure of the tournament. So I took him, and then I took Furyk, who I thought was a great course fit play, in addition to course history. Emiliano Grillo, which is that's my main man, probably the guy I've played the most in PGA DFS this year. Really high on him just in general. Then Brooks Koepka, who was very low owned. I actually ended up liking him at his price. I thought he was going to be more heavily owned. And Bubba Watson, who missed the cut by 1 stroke, who was popular. And I like Bubba quite a bit as well. So into my next team, I had Furyk, so I played him twice. Kuchar, Matsuyama, Adam Scott, who I played twice. Webb Simpson, and Gary Woodland, who I also played twice. Explanations for all these guys. I did play Matsuyama for the same kind of reason I played Koepka. Bubba Watson, I decided I wanted exposure to all of them because I thought they had a lot of upside in this tournament. And, kind of going around my core of Casey, Scott, Furyk, Woodland, I felt pretty good about plugging those guys in. And then Webb Simpson ended up being a really popular value play, who I used some, but fortunately I used a little bit more Swafford. I was on Kokrak for a little bit, and I got off him, and he would have actually been the best value play. So that's the tournament here for the Golf Championship. I'll be doing another lineup review on the next round, as will I do a lineup review of the actual championship itself. And then if we move over here, we actually had a really cool tournament on DraftKings as well. And want to give a shout out to BG Everett, who actually is a Fantasy Labs, well, not a subscriber there. Bailey, I believe, was actually doing a trial with our golf product and won this tournament for 100,000. Reached out to Jonathan Bales, and that's awesome. Congrats. Happy to see stuff like that. I took third with my main team, which had Charlie Hoffman, who missed the cut. So I feel proud that I got a team up to third out of 370 with a missed cut. But a good payout structure here, 10 max. I did enter in 10 times, $1,500 buy-in. Really cool tournament. If we look at the winning team here, I mentioned Kokrak before. They had Fowler, Kokrak, Rory, Palmer, Scott, and Swafford. And a lot of those guys were popping really high in all the models in Fantasy Labs. So congrats to that team again. You saw my team earlier that finished the highest, my main cash game team. Another team here that I had with all 6 making the cut. This is a more contrarian team with Kirk and Leishman. Went for the stars lineup here with Day and Rory. And then the other team that I had made the cut was a more conservative team. I was very high on Casey. And the interesting thing I also noticed is that Koepka is more popular in this tournament than he was in the Survivor style tournament, which makes sense, I guess. So that was this tournament. Again, congrats to Bailey, BG Everett. Love seeing Fantasy Labs help people win, and very excited for the rest of the golf season. And of course, I am pumped for NFL. Going to the Broncos game here on Thursday. So amped for that. Very proud of what we've released here at Fantasy Labs as well. If you haven't checked it out already, check out our matchups page. And we have a ton of new stuff with our models, our trends, a lot of new stats. So very proud of what we're doing here at NFL. And of course, if you're grinding it out, the NFL season is absolutely the best for a DFS player. So with that, I will see you guys next week. And of course, good luck in all your contests.